This is better than the Iron Fist Netflix show, that is for certain. But then again, I think that watching paint dry is probably better than the Iron Fist Netflix show. What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? My name is Blatonger, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. I know it's been a gajillion years since I've done an Ultimate Spider-Man video, but we are finally back at it again. And yes, I have been completing the game in the background. I don't recommend completing this game, honestly. I think that the core game is a lot better than what I expected, and it was kind of fun, but the post-game stuff is just infuriating. It took so long. That's why between the last time that I played this game, which I believe was a live stream, and today, I mean, it's been like 3 months, because that's how long it's taken for me to go on ahead and complete some of these tasks. And here we go. We kick things off with the classic, very, very classic Spidey suit. This is most certainly going to be the suit that you have the most game time on. This is the costume that you are utilizing for the vast majority of the game, the story itself. Of course, in the post game, that is when you're going to get access to a bunch of other costumes, but generally speaking, this is going to be the suit that you have played the most as. And I gotta say, it looks pretty nice. I think it's a pretty nice design, all things considered. I think they did a great job of adapting the costume that we see in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics into video game form. It does look a little bit pixelated, or I guess polygon heavy, but that's just because of the art style. And of course, at the time of the release of this game, this is pretty much as good as video games were looking for the most part. So what else is available within the game? Where if we take a look at the unlockables window here and we head into the costumes selection screen, we can see a nice little summary of the costumes within the game. So of course, we just took a look at the Spidey costume here, which is probably my second favorite in the game. Let me know which one is your favorite, by the way, down in the comment section below. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Now, with the Spidey suit out of the way, let's take a look at my favorite costume, and that is going to be the black suit or the symbiote suit, whatever you want to go on ahead and call it. I think this is definitely the standout. Now, of course, this entire story revolves very heavily around the symbiote known as Venom. And so because of that, obviously, it makes people super duper stoked about the possibility of seeing symbiote Spider-Man. And I'm going to be honest, I think they knocked it out of the park. I always like when they go on ahead and utilize not just the simple black design for the symbiote suit, but also give it that kind of purple highlight that makes it look a little bit more like an alien species. I think it works really, really well, and it really makes the design come to life, particularly when we go around in the game within the nighttime sequences. I really like how you can see the shading and the shadowing effects on the costume itself. I think it looks wonderful. And so I was very, very happy to see that this suit was actually in the game and that it's playable. And then you can go on ahead and run around as the symbiote Spider-Man as well, or the black suit Spider-Man, whichever name you want to go on ahead and refer to with this particular costume. Now, of course, that is not all, because next up we have the wrestling suit. I gotta be honest, this one is kinda lame looking, because it's essentially the Spider-Man suit that we just took a look at. So like if I bring up the unlockables window again, I think it becomes very obvious. So this suit right here, as you can see, it has the lining animation, or not animation, lining details on the costume. You have the logos on the costume, etc., the boots, so things like that. Whereas if we go on ahead and scroll down here to the wrestling suit, it's the exact same costume with the exception of not having the webbing details and the spider logos. That's it. There's really no other difference to it. I think that it looks kind of lame. I think it looks kind of lazy, because the thing about the wrestling costume for Spider-Man is that I don't mind it when it looks more like homemade and when it looks more like a homemade, I guess, costume in general, in terms of like more plain boots, and maybe just the mask looks very accurate to like the Spider-Man costume that we come to see down the line. But this just looks like they were like, oh yeah, just erase the lines off the costume and we'll call it the wrestling costume. It just does not, to me, look very cool. You take away any of the coolness from the actual Spidey suit and also the charm of the classic homemade wrestling suit. So I think that this is kind of the worst of both worlds. And so because of that, this is arguably the worst costume in the game. Now, following the wrestling suit is probably the most divisive costume in this video game, and that is the AntMan Suit. I think a lot of people hate this costume because, well, essentially, it is the wrestling suit, except it is recolored into a much uglier version. Although I am realizing now that the actual eyes are quite a bit different as well. Like they're kind of more like buggy eyes, and they're kind of like more protruding. So that's kind of neat. I actually like this design. I don't know why it reminds me of Iron Fist. I just can't quite put my finger on why it reminds me of Iron Fist, for no reason at all, of course. This is better than the Iron Fist Netflix show, that is for certain. But then again, I think that watching paint dry is probably better than the Iron Fist Netflix show. Boom, got him. This costume looks pretty freaking wonderful. I think that it is a standout compared to the rest of the costumes, and that's kind of what I look for, generally speaking, with costume designs in games, particularly superhero games. I don't really want every little variant of the same exact look to be available as a playable costume. I much more so prefer a costume that is distinctly different, something that looks completely unique to the rest, and this certainly checks that box. And of course, if you are more of a fan of Peter Parker, fear not, because he is actually playable in this game as well. So you can go on ahead and select Peter Parker himself. It is a little awkward that he doesn't bother hiding the fact that he has the webbing abilities and he just swings right by these people. So it's like, Peter, I think you're kind of giving away your hidden identity. Bruh. So I'm not really sure how that's all going to work. But regardless, you can play as Peter. But if you are worried about your identity, fortunately enough, the game does give you the option to play Peter Parker with the hoodie on. So you can kind of hide his identity a little bit more, which I think is pretty cool as well. Now, that kind of surmises all the variants of Peter Parker himself within this game. So if we take a look at our unlockables here, just to quickly round them all back up, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Symbiote or Black Suit Spider-Man, we have the wrestling costume Spider-Man, we have the AntMan, we have Peter Parker, and we have, of course, the hooded Peter Parker as well. So not a whole lot of costumes. Obviously, this game is of a time where there was not quite as many playable characters commonly in these sorts of games. Now we're spoiled with how many different things we get to play as. But the cool thing about this game is that you can actually go on ahead and do this. Summons Venom, which is, of course, pretty freaking incredible. Now, Venom himself does not, unfortunately, get any costumes. So if you go on ahead and pause here and you head into unlockables and costumes, it's not like you suddenly get a new costume available to you as Venom, which would have been really cool. I kind of wish they would have given you maybe the ability to play as Eddie Brock. That would have been kind of neat. Maybe it would have been cool to see like a more battle damaged Venom or something where you can partially see like Eddie peeking through the costume. That would have been kind of neat as well. But regardless, the fact that you even have Venom as a playable character is pretty spectacular. And so with all that in mind, ladies and gents, there you have it. That, of course, does go on ahead and conclude the showcase here today for the different characters available in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game. I've showcased all the Spidey costumes. Of course, I showcased Venom as well. Let me know which are your favorites down in the comment section below. If you can't pick one, obviously go on ahead and maybe submit your top 3. I think that's always a fun exercise to go through. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you watched all the way through, type down in the comment section below, Blitz. Wow. I'm actually curious to see how many people watched the entire video. Thanks a lot for watching. I will hopefully catch you guys here next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.
There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight. Gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind.